Train Dreams requires patience. It's a slow, meandering yet intimate exploration of the American West in the early 20th century, drawing inspiration from the likes of Terrence Malick. Director Clint Bentley adapts the screenplay from Dennis Johnson's novel. The film is visually gorgeous, with some of the best cinematography at this year's Sundance Film Festival. And while I appreciated its introspection, it's far too drawn out and aimless. I wanted to love the historical drama, but its philosophical musings can only take the film so far. Robert Granier is a humble logger who spends time with his wife Gladys and daughter Kate in his off-season. The narration by Will Patton tells us that Granier worked on the train project and that it was something he'd never do again after a Chinese immigrant is thrown over a bridge by bigots. This haunts Granier, and he believes the bad things happening to him are due to his failure to help the man who was killed. The film spans a few decades as Granier goes through life, its tragedies and happier moments. There's so much to like about Train Dreams. Its cinematography, by Adolfo Veloso, is utterly breathtaking. The film spends much of its time outside and takes advantage of nature's splendor, its majestic forests and calm riversides. Granier finds himself drawn to it, gazing at the night sky or walking through the woods. He never says much, but he's always looking for purpose in his life, though it only ever comes once. That revelation, that the aimlessness Granier feels never lets up, is powerful. So many movies tell us there's meaning in everything, but Train Dreams isn't so quick to follow that same path. The film is perhaps more in tune with nature and the land than its characters, who are merely passing through. Bentley's film is a love letter to the people who are forgotten, despite having dedicated their blood, sweat, and tears to logging, but it asserts that, while what happens to the earth because of humans has consequences, there's not always a rhyme or reason to things. Granier wanting to blame his life's tragedies on being cursed is a way to give the bad stuff a reason before returning to wandering. The film's biggest tragedy happens too soon and leaves us stranded in a narrative that sometimes feels as lost as Edgerton's protagonist. However, this is also where the film falters, as it focuses on his guilt for a good stretch of the film, while the nameless man who haunts his dreams embodies the silent Asian trope. The narration isn't grating, and it's quite lovely at times, giving us just enough without over-explaining. But the overall lack of dialogue in an overlong film forces our attention to wane. There's only so much Edgerton can do, and he does quite a lot in a role that demands his all. To maintain our interest, the philosophical elements of the film can be powerful, especially in the moments of Granier's great pain. But the film's biggest tragedy happens too soon and leaves us stranded in a narrative that sometimes feels as lost as Edgerton's protagonist. Edgerton is fantastic as Granier. He's believable as a logger who's been worn down by time, heartbreak, and working such a strenuous job. He's okay to get by because he's accepted this as his life, but he'd much rather be at home with his wife and child. The actor layers his performance with a deep sense of weariness and quiet meditation, happiness and despair. Being a logger takes its toll, and Edgerton's physicality complements the grisly aspect and hardship of Granier's work. In a largely quiet role, Edgerton must convey everything through his face and body language, and he's captivating. Jones is also breathtaking as Gladys. She's more assertive than Edgerton's character, and portrays a poised, loving woman and mother who helps to make ends meet. She and Edgerton are lovely together. Supporting players like William H. Macy, whose appearance is brief but affecting, help to flesh out the world of Train Dreams and Granier's story. At times, the movie is deeply compelling, but its complexities can get lost in the shuffle and repetition of the same points. Striking cinematography and philosophical reflections can't make up for this too slow film that pokes at life's meaningful moments without inspecting them further.